G'day and welcome to Isol8, 8 Songs of Meaning podcast. Isol8 is about bringing you a unique conversation from a special guest who is a touring artist or touring roadie. I wanted to shine a light on the talented people of the arts to find out some of their most personal musical highlights and the stories behind them. The flow and effect of COVID-19 has meant cancellations of large music festivals as well as your favourite local gigs. As a result, an estimated 500,000 people in Australia in the music industry are currently out of work. Support Act is a charity that assists financially when the industry falls on difficult times such as this. If you enjoy the podcast today, I encourage you to make a donation if you're in a position to do so. As well as musicians, there are many people behind the scenes who make gigs happen. The sound engineer, the tour manager, the lighting designer and more. They all play a pivotal role to ensure that we as punters enjoy the best possible performance night after night. It's important to remember that these uncertain times will pass. The shows will go on, and these wonderful creative people will get back to doing what they love. So, let's meet the people behind the musical magic. G'day everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Isol8, 8 Songs of Meaning. My guest today is Matthew Donnan, who is known to everyone as Yogi. Yogi is a tour manager and the founder of clothing label Roadsick. He has toured extensively, both nationally and internationally, for more than 20 years with countless bands, including Grinspoon, Cog, The Butterfly Effect, Mastodon, and currently Angus and Chilli, just to name a few. Currently chasing waves on the Gold Coast, Yogi has been kind enough to give us his time today, and I'm really excited to share his stories with you all. Please welcome Yogi Donnan.
Hey, mate.
G'day. How are you?
G'day. I'm good.
Good. Thank you so much for doing this. I really, really appreciate it.
That's all right.
I got your notes the other day and, seriously creamed my pants. I was so excited for the songs that you've chosen and the stories that you've got on there. It's so juicy and exciting. I can't wait to share it with everyone. I'm just going to grab my other notes. Okay, let's get going. Firstly, how are you? How are you handling the ISO thing?
I'm good. I'm just taking it pretty low key, actually. It's just we bought a house in February, so it's been good to be there for this time because I wasn't going to be home for very long.
I was going to say, so what did you have on the schedule before all this shit went down?
I did have a bit of time off in March, but then Dope Lemon was kicking off at the start of April, and we were gone for up to 10 weeks in Australia and Europe, I think. Mm-hmm. So, point A, regarding the first show in Cornwall in the UK of our European run, and then we would have been there for about another 4 weeks or so. But as it stands, I've been home for 11 weeks.
Gosh.
Which is the longest I haven't done a show for since I started in 99.
Oh, my God. 11 weeks. And not that you're counting, by the sounds of it.
Counting. It's one of those things you don't realise how much what you got until it's gone sort of thing, Yes. After this long, it was half the time it's a job, you know what I mean, to me. Mm. And I guess I was taking it for granted maybe a little bit. Yeah. Because it's a pretty special job.
It is.
Like touring. So, go back to the actual original question. I've just been laying low. The beaches haven't been closed here on the Gold Coast.
Yeah,
so
same with WA,
I felt, to be honest, I felt a bit morally like it wasn't right to go surfing when it all kicked off. So I didn't. But over the last month, I've been surfing maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
Getting ripped.
But definitely none of that. But compared to good mate Ronnie, the drum tech, who surfs every day on the Gold Coast.
Does he?
And tells me about it. Yeah.
I didn't know he was a surfer. Actually, no, I did know he was a surfer dude. He didn't tell me he's been doing it every day, though.
He loves it. So, so just laying low, staying home with the missus and the dog and getting a new house sorted and riding push bikes, trying to do a bit of exercise, cooking food.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm definitely eating a lot more than I'm exercising. snacking.
I started off, to be honest, really good. I was nailing it. And then as the restrictions eased a little bit, so it's like the restrictions eased and the sugar intake rose.
Yes.
Because when I wasn't leaving the house, there's no bad food in the house. You can't fucking eat it if it's not there.
That's true, unless you bake it.
Yeah.
That's starting to become my problem. On that, well, I've got a couple of pre-questions before we get into the main part of the podcast. And one of my questions was, what's your favourite isolation or touring snack? So what's your favourite thing that you've been cooking since you've been home?
When we're home, we cook a lot of pasta and a lot of gnocchi. Yeah. Not make the gnocchi or the pasta, unfortunately.
You're not a wog, mate. Good try.
We got a pasta maker, but we've never used it.
Yeah.
But we have pasta and gnocchi, and then Stace doesn't really eat meat, but I eat meat. So, sometimes there's got to be two different sort of things cooked. We have a lot of fish tacos. But Stace makes a lot of cookies.
Yeah, this is what I'm getting to, the isolation baking.
So Stace makes cookies, I eat them. And
sounds like a good deal.
She goes to work and I generally eat hers as well and get in trouble. But, I'm more of a savoury cook. Like I cook most nights. And she's more of a sweet cook.
Okay, that's good. Well, you got the time now, so you're probably perfecting a lot of things. And what's your touring snack? Like what's always in the backpack or in the hotel room?
I love popcorn.
Well, it's healthy.
I'm a massive fan of popcorn. I've been known to visit Hoyt's just to get popcorn when I go shopping sometimes.
Are you serious? Oh, my God.
But Cobb's cheesy popcorn or Cobb's salty popcorn.
Nice.
And then if I'm feeling fat, it'll be a Quest bar or something like that. But popcorn is my go-to. And then at home, I've always got frozen cauliflower for buffalo cauliflower in the freezer.
What's buffalo cauliflower? Is it like a cheesy cauliflower?
Nah, it's like just crumb cauliflower.
Yeah.
And then you put it. We've got an air fryer, and then you
I keep hearing about this air fryer.
Yeah, I got it. Stace bought it for me for Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing. It's like a deep fryer, but no oil. It just uses hot air.
So it's not fattening.
It's not as fun. But you still get your hot chips, you still get your schnitzels. They just are not oily.
That's
greasy. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Apparently you can put a little bit of oil in it, but we don't do that. We just dry the shit out of it. You're so
committed to the shredding for the surfing. I get it. You need the air fryer.
No, I don't think so.
Now, my other question on the food thing was, what's your quarantini? So what are you drinking in isolation?
Well, I drink... When I choose to drink, I drink vodka. Captain Sensible. I'm not actually a big drinker. I don't drink spirits. I've never drank spirits since I got my stomach pumped when I was 13.
What?
But that's a story for another time.
Okay, you don't want to tell that one today? Okay.
It's a long story. So I only drink beer, and I don't drink that often, especially since my health scare in 2014. So I drink mid-strength Bolter or mid-strength Young Henrys, which is Stayer.
Yeah.
And especially now there's no football.
Yeah.
Like unless I haven't had a drink unless I'm on a Zoom chat.
Yeah.
This whole quarantine.
Yeah, right.
Time. But Saturday nights, we normally call around, email around, text around all the different roadies that I normally work with, and we jump on Zoom.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're on there for 10 minutes and you're just saying hi, and sometimes you sit there for 4 hours and you've got to pay subscription fees because you've been there so long,
That would be awesome. God, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that convo.
Because normally when I'm at work, I don't get to drink because
you're working. Yeah.
And then especially, in this day and age with places closing early, like you finish, the truck gets packed at 1 o'clock. There's nowhere to go.
Nah, that's right, especially not in Perth.
So you might be lucky enough to have a beer at the end of the week on tour these days. But yeah, my I've been there and done that. I gave it a no. I don't know if it's matured. It was just I nearly fucking died.
That's scary.
Yeah.
So your health scare that you just mentioned there. So what happened?
My heart went out of rhythm and started to deteriorate in 2014 at the end of an Angus and Julia tour in Barcelona.
So you were actually overseas when this happened? Yeah,
I was in Barcelona, and then we finished the tour. We'd been partying a fair bit. We'd been on tour for months, maybe a good 3-4 months. It was a world tour, and we were in Barcelona, and I was feeling shit, but it was the end of the tour, so we gave it a nudge.
Yeah.
And then I just never came back from it. And whether I was sick in the end, they said I had it was a viral infection that attacked my heart instead of my immune system. But burning the candle at both ends doesn't help.
No.
So flew home, just couldn't breathe. I was lucky Stace sort of knows what she's talking about health-wise, and, I got an ambulance to hospital. I was in a hospital for 14 days. I was on breathing stuff and had operations. And
it's fucking
my heart was working. My heart was. I wasn't a heart attack or anything like that. It was just I was dying. My heart was working at 10%. I couldn't breathe.
Fuck.
I couldn't talk because I couldn't breathe. But it was only when I was in the air on the plane was when it was worse. I didn't tell anyone or anything. I just sat there, just manually breathing myself. And when I'd land, whether it was in London, Singapore, Sydney, every time I'd land, I'd feel all right. And I was just it's just the party and it's catching up with me. I'll be right. I'll go home and have a sleep. And as soon as we got to the doctor, he called an ambulance within the first minute of doing all the doctor's checks.
Fucking hell.
And, and since then I didn't drink for 3 years.
I was going to say, because I remember when this happened that I saw you again and, you weren't drinking at all.
Yeah, I didn't drink for 3 years, and I had a few beers on a holiday Stace and I had to Williamsburg for just not getting blind drunk or anything. Since I started drinking again, I've probably been drunk 3 times, in 3 years.
Yeah. Did you find that hard, being on tour where, the whole rock and roll lifestyle, they say? Did you find it really hard not to drink in that time, or you were just...
No, I think because I was a tour manager, I wasn't able to drink like everybody else until everybody was home safe or we were all at the after party and stuff, so I was pretty disciplined like that. It was easy not to drink. In the end I was bumming I started again, but I love beer.
Yeah. You're drinking it for the taste, you're not drinking it to get drunk.
I fucking love it. And I love the social aspect of it. And for a while when I was sober on tour, I'd still try and go to the after parties and stuff just to be social, but fuck, drunk people are annoying.
Oh my God, so annoying.
I used to have a 3-strike rule. If you tell me a story, first time, I love to hear it. Love to hear everyone's stories and that. You tell me the same story on the same night. These 3 strikes.
Okay.
If you tell me the second story, the same story twice, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and just listen and.
Yeah.
As soon as you start to tell the story the third time, that's it. You're fucking striked out. And half the time that means you're not striked out. I'm actually striked out and I leave.
Yeah, you're gone. Yeah. You do a Houdini. You don't do the rounds and say bye. You just Houdini out.
Yeah, I don't say bye at all. I've never said bye. It's not bye. It's only see you later.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Straight up Houdini. Love it.
Yeah.
Now, my next question before we get into the main part of the podcast is, how did you and I know each other? How did we meet? Now, how do you think we met?
I can't, I think I've been coming to WA since 2001, so I can't recall meeting you, but it would have been through Carnival or Dead Letter Circus, and it would have been at a gig or an after party.
Yeah.
You know, and I was trying to think when you gave me the brief of what we were going to be talking about. I tried to have a think, and I couldn't remember not knowing you. You know what I mean?
I was waiting for some like dodgy story or some memory of me being.
It might have been a text message. Hey, I'm friends with so and so. Do you reckon you can get me on the guest list?
I'm actually going to tell you how we did meet because I remember.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is going to show both of our ages, but we became friends on MySpace. You added me on MySpace.
Jesus.
Yeah, which was like, well, I don't know what year it was. It must have been around 2000 or thereabouts. And we started chatting on there. I don't know why or how, obviously because of mutual friends. And so I'm pretty sure we met on the, if you did this tour, the COG Carnival tour, which was that the New Normal tour?
Yeah, it was New Normal tour.
Yeah.
So that was 2004.
Was it? Yeah, that'd be about right. But no, or maybe it was...
Sorry, 2005, because the album came out in 2000. Oh, no, it would have been 2004.
Okay, yeah. But either that or before that, I think, did you come over with Butters before that?
I've been over with Butterfly since 2001.
Okay, yeah. So it's...
And COG had been over... COG may have been over once before that, just... But
So it's around
MySpace.
there. Around then. A long time. But yeah, good old MySpace.
Do you reckon you can still log into MySpace?
No, you can. I did it recently because I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, is it even still there? And like, I logged in and I'm like, I'm still engaged to like 3 boyfriends ago. I've got all these like people I don't speak to anymore. I'm like, oh, this is great. Little walk down memory lane. Plus I just look at the photos and I get depressed. I'm like, oh my God, I was so youthful. Yeah, give it a go. All right, we're going to kick into the main part of the podcast where we do our 8 songs of meaning, although with you, we've gone a little bit bananas and we're going to do more than 8, and you've chosen some absolute crackers, and so there's going to be more than 8 songs, but fuck it.
Yeah, that's like I was saying before, I just find it real hard to talk about music because it sort of means so much to me and there's been so much of it that like to compile a list, I know I'm leaving out stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, I can't leave that out. I can't leave that out. So sort of made me want to do a playlist and then just go, well, there you go. That I don't need to talk. There's all
the songs. Yeah, well, I am going to put all of the songs on the playlist, the Isol8 playlist, the ones that you chose, but also the extra spare ones that you gave me, that big list of absolute bangers, which had a few surprises on it, actually. I didn't know you were a Drake fan, but I love it.
Yeah. Right.
He's awesome. I'm going to put some Drake on next time.
I'm trying to learn that dance in my garage at the moment while I'm doing exercise.
Left foot slide. I don't know what the song's called. Tootsie Slide or something?
Yeah, I definitely dance like a middle-aged fat white guy, that's for sure.
What are you doing in the gym? You got a gym at home?
No, in my garage. I've got some stuff that make me feel better about myself for 20 minutes a day.
You're doing better than me. I'm doing nothing. Okay, so the first question the first song you picked was Red Hot Chili Peppers' Give It Away. The question was, what was the first song or music that you ever purchased? Can you tell us the story behind this one?
Yeah, so I think in my answer, I talked about I grew up just outside of Sydney, about 2 hours. It used to be 3 hours outside of Sydney in a little town called Goulburn.
Okay.
And my mum's a mad South Sydney Rabbitohs fan. Mm-hmm. So we used to drive from Goulburn to Sydney most weekends. It was just my mum and I.
It's a long way.
So she could go to watch the football. So and I was only a little kid, but I love football. It wasn't my team, but we'd go. She'd get lost every week, and we'd get there, and the football would nearly be over or something like that. Oh my God,
this is a disaster.
Yeah, but my mum, I would have been 4. My mum would have been 24, 23, 24.
Yeah.
We'd listen to music all the way up.
What's your mum's name? Mrs. Donnan.
My mum's my mum listened to anything. My mum come to COG, Butterfly Fair. She come to Angus and Julia. She loves Julia. But her favourite is Bruce Springsteen and Keith Urban and stuff like that. But back when I was a kid, she had Sabbath, Alice Cooper and stuff like that.
Nice.
So I think in my answer that I sent through is one footy game. I think it was a couple of years later. I was about 6 or something. We went and watched the Rabbitohs play. I think it was Parramatta or something at Redfern Oval. Then we went into the Cross for dinner.
God, would have been rough back then.
Yeah, this would have been, like, you're talking about 81, 82 probably. And she bought me Kiss Dynasty.
Nice.
On vinyl, and because it had all their 4 faces.
Yeah.
And she used to paint my face Kiss and stuff when I was a kid.
Legend.
She said I loved Kiss, but she loved Kiss, I think, you know. I don't recall the music or anything. I should have probably had a listen to that.
All right,
but
yeah.
I just remember the 4 people's faces on there. And back then you used to be able to buy Kiss makeup and stuff. Like,
so it's full on, everyone's into it.
Well, yeah, because that was the thing. But going on from that, the first night I was allowed out on a school night. Oh, that's another question, actually. It's the same thing. But anyway, so my first job, I was working in a catering company and delivering orange juice. And my boss, he bought me No, this is when I was like 16 or something.
So you're in Sydney now?
I'm in Sydney. I'm 17 now, and my boss at the time, he bought me my first CD player.
Oh, wow. How exciting.
And so you're talking, I'm in year 11 at school, and I get a CD player for the first time.
So cool.
So with my pocket money from my paper run or whatever it was, I went into Utopia and I bought the CD single of Give It Away because I didn't have enough money to buy the whole album.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that was, Give It Away by the Chilli Peppers was the first thing I ever bought.
I love that song.
And the same day I bought, just because of the cover, I bought Crazy Eyes by the Hard-Ons.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't know the music or anything. I just saw the cover.
Yeah.
And it was in the same section as the Chilli Peppers, so I bought that. Yeah.
Nice. Did you end up liking it? Did you like the Hard-Ons when you first heard it, or were you just like...
Yeah, I did, because I was just taking in music, you know, and Cog eventually toured the Big Day Out once with the Hard-Ons, and it was awesome.
They did, yeah. So growing up, you were into rock already because of your mum, her influence? Yeah,
I think I was just into any music. It was rock. It was mum's from a small town in the middle of New South Wales called Tottenham. Mm-hmm. It's like nearly in the dead centre of New South Wales. So she was into country music.
Yeah.
Any sort of music, you know what I mean? Like Stevie Wonder, Tina Turner, which was mainstream back, you know, when I was young. But sort of her favourite is a guy called Harry Chaplin, which not many people know about. I think he died when he was real young.
Yeah.
But he's, you know, a legend of that sort of...
Is he a Cat Stevens type of guy?
I think it's that sort of thing.
Yeah,
you know?
I think my dad listened to it.
I know the music without knowing that that's him. Like, if Mum's playing it at her house now, I just go, oh, that's obviously Harry Chaplin. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, next question is, what was your first live gig you ever went to?
Okay, this one's a big shout out to one of my... I've had 2 best mates since I was little. Mm-hmm. One of them's named Spooty. For Spooty's 14th birthday, we got dropped off at Sydney Entertainment Centre to see Boom Crash Opera.
I love that band,
And I think it was an all ages gig. That's why we were going for his 14th birthday, to try and pick up chicks.
14, Jesus.
And it was Boom Crash Opera, and the big song at the time that was number 1 probably in Australia was Onion Skin. It was like a massive song. So that would be 14. So that would have been 89. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, 89, maybe the end of 88 or something like that.
Yeah.
But then the first like proper gig I was allowed out on a school night with no parents.
Yeah.
Was to see the Chilli Peppers at at the Entertainment Centre.
Yeah.
In about 92. Which was Blood Sugar Sex Magic tour, was the actual tour. But that was, I remember, I was allowed out on a school night, and I went with mates from school, and another mate, Jono McKay, was there. I think there was a group of us. I think there might have been 3 or 4, because I think Jono had a car and a license, and we were footloose and fancy free.
Yeah.
You know. And on stage, the Chili Peppers said that their friends L7 were playing down at Selena's that night, and they were going down to see them.
Yeah.
So we got in Jono's car afterwards and bolted down to Selena's at Coogee to try and sneak in to see L7.
You're underage.
We're underage.
Yeah.
They're like 16, 17-year-old kids, and we snuck in and we got to see the last song of L7, and then I went and bought their, like a year or two later, they put out an album, or it might have been out then, called Bricks Are Heavy, which is like all time, like grunge, like dirty. Yeah, Bricks Are Heavy.
I actually love L7 and Hole, so this is totally my jam. So they were playing on the same night, the Chili Peppers and L7. But
at different venues. And the Chili Peppers mentioned it on stage.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, furthering on from that, what age or what bands made you feel that being a touring person was going to be your life?
I got really into Pennywise and Offspring. That was like I was 18 when all that kicked off, you know, I finished school in 93, so that was big, and that seemed accessible. Like, obviously there was bigger bands out there, but you'd go and see Pennywise or you'd go and see Offspring at the Coogee Bay Hotel at Selena's, and you'd just go, these just fucking surfer guys that are up there playing music, you know. They were wearing surfy T-shirts. And
they were surf punks.
You know, and I was just like, this is me. So I really got into Pennywise and that whole scene, but it wasn't until, like, I didn't know about Crew and I didn't really understand, you know, I hadn't picked up the bass guitar yet for myself.
Yeah. What did you do before this? Did you have like a career before touring?
I've had so many different jobs.
Have you?
I worked in catering first out of school, but the main two, I used to be a baggage handler for Ansett.
Wow, I never knew that.
At Sydney Airport, and I lost my job when Ansett collapsed.
Yeah.
And then I'd already started doing shows with local Sydney bands then, but then I lost my job and I went and studied music management at TAFE.
Cool.
And then I got a job as a garbo in Bondi. Yeah. So I did that, and then I was touring on the weekends and calling in sick for work and stuff because touring started, and then I quit the garbos in August 2005. Yep. And I've never had another job. I've never worked for anyone else since Isolation. I went and got a job at Coles.
You got to do what you got to do to survive.
Yeah. So this is the first time since 2005 that I've worked for somebody.
Yeah. Are you finding it really strange working with like a normal job?
I'm not on. I do 3-hour shifts a week max. It's 9 hours. It's pretty much not too bad. It's pretty much a night out. Like, I go for 3 hours, do some work.
Then you Houdini and go home.
Yeah. So it's not. I wouldn't call it a job, but it's definitely regimented. You know, it's. I wear a shirt. I wear steel cap shoes, and you know.
Yeah. So, who was the first band you ever worked with? Sorry, getting back to the question. I think I missed that.
The first. We didn't we didn't finish one.
I was going to say, I'm getting off track.
Okay. So around the same time as Pennywise and stuff like that was still kicking around.
Yeah.
I think it would have been about 95. I just fell head over heels with Grinspoon.
Yeah.
Like,
I love them.
I was just like, this fucking music is like amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good fun. Had energy, and it was good fun and stuff like that. And I think my high school girlfriend and we used to travel around. Back then, bands used to play like the suburbs of Sydney. So they'd do Sydney for a weekend. We'd go to all 3 or 4 shows.
Yeah.
And then I'd start to pick up on, like, that guy's setting up that, this guy's doing that, this guy's mixing, and I started to understand like what crew were doing and stuff, and then I'd find myself at a Grinspoon gig just watching their crew.
Yeah.
And so then I went and got a job at a rehearsal studio in Sydney as the night guy, you know, like I don't smoke pot, but the stoner guy that just sits there in the rehearsal studio waiting for the bands to rehearse. But,
the night watchman.
Yeah, and Grinspoon used to rehearse there sometimes.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So then I got to meet their crew, the ones who I had seen on stage. And then, as it turns out, one thing led to another. The Butterfly Effect started touring with Grinspoon a lot back in the day, and then I met some of these guys the 4 guys that I met on that tour are still some of the closest of friends of mine now.
Wow.
You know?
So they're the same people that worked for Grinspoon that whole time?
The same guys that worked for Grinspoon then, still 3 of them still work for Grinspoon out of the 4.
Wow.
And I still see the 4 of them a lot.
Yeah.
They're only, you know, they're an age group of love for me.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're some of my best mates, you know what I mean? And some of the best guys at what they do, obviously.
So you learnt from the best.
Yeah, so we, you know, they didn't take shit, but they were good knockabout guys, you know what I mean? So they taught you stuff and they expected a lot from you, but when you did your job, they rewarded you.
Do you feel like you're like that? I feel like you're like that as well.
I tried to there was the other side of the older guys when we started out that were just arseholes. There was a lot. The Grinspoon guys were great, but I didn't meet that many other old people when I first started out that were good.
Yeah.
And so I just always said, I'm just not going to be like that.
Yeah.
Like, if it makes you that fucking grumpy, why the fuck are you doing it?
Yeah,
No.
There is a bit of a thing, like, where people, like the older roadies, they can come across as very gruff.
Yeah, you're not saving the fucking world. Like,
it's true.
Fucking
One day at a time.
Put it back in your pants, mate. Settle down.
All right, we'll get to the next question. Is there a song that brings back memories of your favourite tour or a favourite touring moment?
Okay. So, just looking at my notes because I didn't want to, like I said, I get nervous and didn't want to leave things out.
That's okay. That's good. That's good.
My best, by far my best thing I've ever done on tour was in the end of our world tour in 2015 with Matt Corby, band and crew. We finished, we did a show called the Rocket Festival in Tromsø in Norway, which is above the Arctic Circle.
Wow.
Summer, so it's beautiful during the day.
Yeah.
Like, still cold at night.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing town. The whole festival set around back in the early 1900s. This girl after school used to have a hot dog stand in the middle of the town.
Yeah.
And she used to make reindeer hot dogs. They don't have cows. They have reindeer. Like, there's no cows because you're so far up.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
The hot dogs were made of reindeer. And
did you? Oh, my God. Okay, yeah.
So then the hot dog stand, she made a stand in the middle of the town and became a business, and this whole town thrived around these hot dogs. And 100 years later, they've named a festival after it.
Oh, my God.
And the stage overlooks the hot dog stand. The hot dog stand's still there.
Is it
and
called?
It's shaped like a rocket. So it's like a rocket. I don't know if it's called Rocket Dogs or something like that, but it's...
I thought you were going to say it was like just the Reindeer Hot Dog Festival. That was the name of the festival.
So that's the town.
Yeah.
But the day after the tour ended, normally you fly home, you know, the tour's over. But we had been offered by the promoter to go on a fishing boat, an old fishing boat that had been turned into a sauna, steam room, spa, and they'd take you out on the, I don't think it's the Arctic Sea, but you're above the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
And you go out on the thing, out onto the ocean, or the sea they call it, and you're in a sauna, you're in a steam room, you're on the spa, and then there's just a runway into the Arctic freezing cold water.
Oh my God.
And so we sit in the sauna and you just open the door and you just run and you just jump off the boat into the water. Freezing. So it's only a little bit after my heart.
Yeah,
operation.
I was going to say this is the following year, yeah.
And the lovely guy, Jack, who jumped off before me, everyone was jumping off and then just sprinting like in the cartoon, swimming so fast.
Like the Roadrunner, yeah.
Yeah, get back on the boat. People, like Jesus. Just and so Jack said, I'll go before you.
Yeah.
And he went before me and he just stayed there swimming around waiting for me. And then I went and jumped and I got up a ladder and then we went back into the sauna, you go straight back in the sauna and you're tingling all over.
Yeah.
So didn't you feel it was cold? And he goes, yeah, I just didn't want your heart to have a heart attack as soon as you...
You were Wim Hof before it was Wim Hof.
So that's like the best thing that I reckon I've ever experienced, and that's awesome. Really special because like if I wasn't with Matt Corby, I would never have been offered a free trip on this $500 a day experience, and I wouldn't have even thought to look it up because I didn't know about it.
No, you wouldn't be like, while I'm here, I might just go jump in the Arctic Circle.
Yeah. But the thing that I do consistently on tour that I love doing, and I normally do it I get to do it a fair bit with Will Cunliffe actually, is when we're in Paris, wherever we're playing in Paris that day, whoever we're with. Mm-hmm. I think I've done this with Angus and Julia, Dope Lemon, Cog, Carnival, Butterfly Effect. Wherever we're playing in Paris, you wake up, you're on the tour bus or you're at a hotel or wherever, you go for a long walk and, soak Paris in. Yep. But if you get a day off, we go and sit up the top of the Sacre-Cœur and we buy €2 Heinekens and just sit there on the steps and just watch the whole of Paris. Wow. It's my favourite thing. And I'm fortunate, I'll probably, I get to do it once or twice a year and it still doesn't, I still love it,
Yeah. Oh,
sometimes if I'm by myself, I won't buy the beer and I'll just make sure I exercise, walk up there and take a snap,
Yeah.
And in our house, actually, we've actually got a photo that I took of Stace there on the bottom of it with the old carousel. There's a merry-go-round carousel at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
We've got that in a canvas in another room in our house.
Oh,
so I sort of always go there and take a photo of the carousel for her.
Oh,
then go up the steps with the boys. Up the steps with the boys and have a beer.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, that's an amazing moment.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to go to Paris someday. Someday I'll come and tag along and be a punisher in Paris with you.
I love Paris. That's one of my isolation things. I've been learning French.
Have you?
Yeah.
I
can't talk. I can read. I'm not confident enough to talk.
Can you say, like, my name is Yogi in French?
We'll edit that in a minute.
All right, we can do it at the end. And then we can.
I've got a funny my name story is.
Yeah.
It's totally off topic.
Yeah,
right?
go on.
Butterfly Effect in Cologne in 2009. Mm-hmm. Clint, the singer, had said he had been practicing German.
Right.
And we were staying in a youth, like a backpackers hostel above a Hungry Jack's or Burger King or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And so we've all gone. I think we've just arrived, we're all excited and we go, we'll get Burger King because we don't know where to eat and that, and then we'll go out and try and find a beer.
Try and find real food, yeah.
And we walk into Hungry Jack's, Burger King or whatever, and Clint goes, I've got this, I'm going to do it in German.
Oh, no.
And he looks at the board and he goes, my name is the Double Whopper. And the girl goes, what? Your name's Double Whopper? He'd got it wrong and he said his name's Double Whopper.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's the absolute best. I'm going to bring that up with him next time I see him.
So that's why I'm hesitant to try and say.
All right. We don't need another Double Whopper incident.
I think it's Apparel, Matthew, but...
It actually is. I actually know that because I learnt French in school too. Oh, yeah. So are you learning it because when you go there, like, you're planning to go back there for a holiday? Or?
I'd love to live in Paris or anywhere in France, Bordeaux or somewhere, but I find it the hardest to order not restaurants order. Like if I go and sit down in a nice restaurant, a lot of them have obviously got English menus and they can tell, you know. I try to make an effort, but it's I'm at work, the gigs happen, sound checks happen, I've got 10 minutes to go and get something to eat is when I find it hard to order in French.
Yeah.
Like when I go outside, I can order a crepe in French, but I find French the hardest to just order something on the go.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, I'm trying to get a bit more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So
good task to do in isolation. Like you've got the time to do it.
Yeah, and that Duolingo app is amazing. So that helped me with German, get a little bit of German under my belt for touring. And so now I'm just pushing on with half an hour of French a day.
Nice.
But I don't say it. I don't speak it. I've disabled the microphone. So I think it's a little bit easier when you disable the microphone. Yeah. Which is probably cheating, but I'm not. I don't have a fight with Siri because she doesn't understand what the fuck I'm saying.
Also, you don't want to start getting ads on your Instagram in French. Because, like, you think about something now and then it suddenly fucking pops up on your Instagram.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, yeah.
All right. We'll move on to the next question. Fanboy moments. Have you ever had a fanboy over someone that you've been touring with?
Yeah, well, I've worked with quite a few people and stuff, but and I don't normally fanboy over musicians or anything. I'm more like the pro surfer or the footy player or the actor or, you know, the actress or something like that.
Who are your favourite surfers and actors while you're there?
My favourite surfer when I was a kid was a guy called Martin Potter. My favourite surfer now is probably John Florence, Mick Fanning, or there's a guy called Ben Gravy who does a YouTube thing every day, and he just tries and finds weird waves and stuff. Like he's a pro surfer, but he's not on the tour or anything like that. And I just like his stoke for it and stuff like that. Yeah. Actors and actresses, I think, is it Jason Statham?
Yeah, Jason Statham, yeah.
Statham. And my favourite movies of all time is Back to the Future, so Michael J. Fox is my favourite, you know. Yeah. But, like I like movies, I like TV and stuff like that. So they're and that because I don't work in that industry, you know, I'm like there. And then, you know, footy players are as dumb as dog shit, but, you know, like I still love football, you know, so. Yeah. But music-wise, I think, you know, like if I like a band and I end up working for a band, I'll just go, you know, like and keep it to myself. And, you know, it doesn't faze me. The time that I did sort of get blown away a bit was when I looked after Angels and Airways with Tom DeLonge from Blink-182. Yeah. He's like whether you like Blink-182, whether you like Angels and Airways, that guy's a full-on rock star. Like he like we would get to airports and there would be hundreds of people, and me and him would have to sneak off to the Virgin Lounge and all that sort of stuff, and Virgin would come and take our bags from us and give us our tickets and stuff like that. Wow. You know what I mean?
It's just like next level.
Yeah, and we'd get to a hotel and there'd be fucking people there, you know what I mean? Like, so I got to spend a bit of time with him one-on-one, and we just talked about business, and we didn't talk about aliens.
I was going to say, what's he really like? Because people have opinions on him.
He was lovely. Like, he was really lovely to me. Yeah. And that was probably the time where I've just gone, fuck, this person's a full-on rock star. Like, you know, I can tour around the world, and Angus and Julia can't really, like, you know, they can do stuff in Australia, but Angus and Julia are big in France and Germany. And people are there, you know. People in France know who they are, you know. Like,
they seem so unassuming. Like, most people would walk past them on the street and they wouldn't know.
Yeah, but I think, you know, like, and obviously, you know, there's bands like Mastodon and stuff like that. People know who they are. Every band has fans. That's what's great, you know. And they'll, you know, go to Norway with Carnival, you know, one time. No, sorry, we're in Finland with Carnival years ago. And they were all doing that 30-minute exercise thing every day. Like, it was like some sort of, I don't know what it was called, but the 5 of them, maybe not Jono, but Luke Willett, their sound guy, would jump in as well, and Nick and I would be setting up the gear. Yeah. And they would be doing this exercise, and some days in Finland, I always remember in Helsinki there was like glass doors at the front, and I went to go out to the bus to get something, and like there was this group of full-blown metalheads.
Oh, my God.
And they go, like they're pointing inside and goes, "What is this?" Like at all the exercise.
Yeah.
And then I said, "Oh, that's just Carnival just doing their exercises," and they all like thought it was hilarious. They're pointing, "Oh, this is Carnival," and just pointing. And they thought it was hilarious.
Is this Steve's idea? He's the most ripped one.
I think it might have been Hoss's idea at the time. I don't know, but they were into it. But yeah, like every band has fans, so like, and there's always a fan out there that band is the ultimate thing, you know. So that's what's good about music. Everyone, it's different for everybody, you know what I mean? So whether I fanboy over someone, like I might be working with someone I don't give a shit about, but like give a shit about musically, you know what I mean? But like there's guaranteed to be a whole generation of people that love that band, and that means everything to them, you know what I mean? So you just got to be respectful of that, I guess. But yeah, Blink-182 is probably right up there.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Have a Travis Barker tattoo there.
Oh, you do too.
Yeah.
Did you see the Post Malone thing that Travis Barker did the other week?
Yeah,
I loved that.
It's pretty cool, eh? I watched it.
It was so legit. Like, Post Malone's a fucking punk. I love it.
Yeah, I just wish Travis Barker would smile and laugh every now and again. Seems so serious these days.
Does he? Oh, I probably haven't
like
watched enough
Post
of this.
Malone was, you know, saying stuff and making a few jokes, and then they'd flash to Travis, and Travis just like there waiting, like a robot waiting to play the next song.
Yeah. But the set list that they played was, it was all back, like it was like Francis Farmer and School and, absolute bangers and No Teen Spirit. I was like, fuck yeah. Awesome.
No, it was good. That was good stuff. Like, just people have been doing some great stuff during this time, you know what I mean?
Well, what else are you going to fucking do at the moment? All right, I'm going to move to the next question, which is, if there was one band that you wanted to educate the world with, what band would you want everyone to know of?
Okay, so this question was a little bit hard because I didn't want to feel biased or, you know, and that sort of stuff. And then I was like, oh, well, fuck, you know, if I'm not going to say anything good about them, you know what I mean? Like someone should. And so for this, I would say I wish the world had heard early Cog. Yeah. Like back in the day. Like, so I'm talking, I wish in 2004, 2005, 2006.
So the Just Visiting era? Or is this the new normal era?
Leaving Just Visiting, going into new normal.
Yeah.
So really comfortable with Just Visiting, you know, like, and then just getting psyched on the new stuff. I wish that at that period they had some of the opportunities that younger bands get. Like bands seem to, like, you know, bands seem to be together for 3 months and then all of a sudden they're playing fucking in New York and, you know, LA and shit these days. Like, you know, I toured a few shows in America with Cog and we've been to Europe and stuff like that. But, like, I just wish at the time there was someone there really pushing them and showing their music to the world because, you know, they, for a time there, they, well, not to say that they're not, then some of their new music now is not great, but music tastes of a lot of people have changed, you know what I mean? And there was a time where it seemed like heavy music was a bit more accessible to the mainstream and, you know, Germans, they don't give a shit about genre. Like, they love it, you know, and someone had just given them a chance to set their feet and get their roots sort of in those countries like Germany and the UK back in those days, their story might be a whole different story, you know?
Yeah. I think you're right. They're very, I don't know if the word is understated, but they were so much more influential than probably people give them credit for.
Yeah. And I understand it's not everyone's type of music, and that's probably why I would like it to be at that era, like still. So it's still just because, you know, they only just in December played a song off Just Visiting for the first time in years, you know, because they've got 2 albums plus new material and that they feel better about. But it's just I would have liked them to have been given the opportunity, I think. But then that also means that I would have liked myself to be given the opportunity to tour earlier. So I don't know. I don't really know if that's cheating or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was living in Melbourne around that time when the New Normal came out, and I was working gigs, and I cannot explain how many bands were trying to sound like Cog.
Oh, yeah.
There was so many spin-off bands.
There was a time back in, you know, in those days where it just seemed like every band was trying to sound like Cog or Carnival.
Yeah, I can't think of any two more influential bands than those two for Australia, for that genre.
There's a side note of, just so it's not all Cog, the band Wolf and Cub.
Yeah, now this is more of a pop band?
No, it's like more psychedelic-y sort of rock before Tame Impala, before...
Right.
I don't know, like not Wolf Mother, and like before all that.
Yeah.
There was like Wolf and Cub, like their music is fucking great.
Yeah.
And I just heard their new album that's not released yet, that's coming out later this year.
Ooh.
I just got sent it this week, so this week's been a good week. I've heard a new Cog song, I've heard a new Butterfly Effect song, and I've heard a new Wolf and Cub album.
Okay, we've got the exclusive here, everyone. Got new music.
One new music.
Okay, that's still new. One singular. That's still good.
So I've heard 2 new Butterfly Effect songs this week, 1 new Cog song, and a Wolf and Cub album, and it makes me feel great.
That's exciting. What was I going to say about Wolf and Cub? Oh no, I've lost my train of thought. Sorry, everyone. I had a bit of a few drinks last night and I'm feeling a bit dusty. I'm going to skip to the next. You
don't drink?
Oh no. I think my nickname once was Piss Wreck. Someone called me Piss Wreck for years. I'm like, that is so fucking offensive. I really don't think I drink that much. And I was at home last night just having ISO drinks. I think the problem is when you're at home is like you're pouring vodkas and you're not measuring them. So you're having like a vodka and soda with like 3 shots of vodka in it. You
got nowhere to go.
I know, exactly. Just sit around.
You got nowhere to go, and you know it's not like you got anything to do really on a Saturday or Sunday. You know.
No, but although WA, our restrictions are a little bit lifted, so it's not too bad. But yeah, I'm feeling a bit dusty. Speaking of feeling dusty, you would have spent a lot of hours in the tour van, driving or being in the truck. What's your favourite tour van tune?
So, when I was making notes for this one, I think I changed it a fraction.
Okay.
Just because it's funny, some people don't like me driving with headphones on because I'm mainly the driver.
Okay.
Like a lot of people go, you should be, paying attention.
Oh, because you're taking away that sense
Yeah. And so a lot of the times I'll leave the right ear in because they can't see my right ear, and then they think I don't have anything in my left ear, and I listen to a podcast. But as soon as we get up to leave the Virgin Lounge to jump on the plane, my headphones go on straight away, and I don't really ever take them off until I get to the rental car counter on the other end.
Yeah.
So for years I had this tradition. The song that I'd walk off the plane to, blasting in my headphones, was Avalanche by The Ghost Inside.
Yep.
and it would just, like, so stupid, but, like, you know, you're walking off the plane, you're psyched, you're about to get a rental car, you're about to hoon down the road to load, you know, get all the bags. I've got shit to do, so I used to put on Avalanche by Ghost Inside and just crank it and just get psyched for that rental car counter.
Well, you spend the next half an hour waiting.
Yeah, and so that was my for ages. It was that, and these days, if I'm not listening to a podcast on my headphones and on the plane or in the car, I'd be listening to a band called Lucero, which is pretty much a staple of mine to not hear Lucero at some point throughout the day.
Well, who is Lucero? Where are they? I've never even heard of them.
They're from Memphis, Tennessee, and they're a country rock band. And the guy's just got the graveliest. Ben Nichols, the singer, has just got the graveliest voice you'll ever hear in your life.
Yeah.
Years and a long time ago, I can't even think, probably maybe 10 years ago, but maybe not. There was a thing came to Australia called the Revival Tour. Mm-hmm. And what it was a guy called Chuck Reagan from a band called Hot Water Music would put together his favourite lead singers of bands, and they'd come out and do acoustic songs together, and they would all get up and do songs. So Chuck Reagan from Hot Water Music, there was Ben Nichols from Lucero. So I knew Hot Water Music because they're a punk band. Yeah. So I knew Chuck Reagan. I didn't know anyone else on this night. So it was Chuck Reagan, Ben Nichols from Lucero. It was Frank Turner, who is now my favourite. Yeah. Yeah. And then there was a guy called Tim Barry that was from a band called Avail, who I knew, but I didn't know he did solo stuff. And Stace and I we drove up to Brisbane to watch with Glenn from the Butterfly Effect, actually. Yeah. We went, and a couple of other mates, we went to the zoo in Brisbane and watched it. And it was so, Stace still says it's her favourite gig ever. Wow. It was so good. We went to the hotel that night and I booked us plane tickets down to Sydney for the next 2 days. We went to the Annandale for 2 nights to watch it again. And then so through that couple of days, I got into everyone's solo stuff, and those 4 guys have been staples in their solo stuff, sort of, and their bands now in my jukebox in my head. Yeah.
Were you on the door for those shows though?
I buy tickets.
Oh, good. That's good to know.
Yeah, I buy tickets. I buy music. Mm-hmm. I'm not, because I work in the industry, I'm not so friendly with movies and TV shows before the government cracks down. But, like, I'm not saying I don't get on the guest list a lot, but if Frank Turner's coming to Australia, if Ben Nichols and Lucero are coming to Australia, I'll jump and buy tickets. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll buy extra tickets so I can drag people along. And half the time I'll tell those people that I got their name on the door so they don't feel bad if they don't, you know. Yeah. Because there's certain people that I want to hear certain music, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the same, actually. I've done that before, where I'm like, I don't tell them, like, yeah, just come down, it's all good, I got it sorted. Like, you need to see this. You need to be enlightened.
Like, I'll drag Kurt to a gig sometimes, and he's a musician. He's a music guy. Whereas those guys I just mentioned before, a lot of their stuff is the lyrics, and I'm because I'm not a musician. I was a shit bass player in a punk band. But I'm a lyrics guy.
Same. Yeah, I'm a lyrics guy.
I love a good beat and I love music. Yeah. But I'll make sure I learn the lyrics of a song so I know what they're saying, and, you know.
Yeah, I'm the same.
So if I pull Kurt along to a gig and it's someone who's singing, like, lyrics are great. Yeah. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He just gets pissed and gets annoying. But he does that most nights.
Classic Kurt move.
Yeah, you know.
My housemate's like that as well because he's a musician too. And, you know, we're always together listening. We've always got music playing in the house. And he's not a lyrics guy either. He listens for the melody. And I'm like, I feel like not music's ruined for him, but like sometimes he can't turn that off, like the way that he listens to stuff.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. I think musically, like, it needs to be good music, but if they're singing about some fucking shit, you know, they can fuck off. and that's not to say, like, some of my favourite bands, like Sleep Makes Waves, Jacob, and Isis, they're great instrumental bands, and I love that.
I do love the Sleeps Boys, yeah.
Not so much headphones, but if I'm driving late at night, you crank those bands. That's all time, you know. That's great driving music, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, I don't want to hear you singing about shit. You know what I mean? Like,
you don't want to hear. No, I'm trying to think of some horrible.
Give me some substance. Make it mean something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I'm not much of a love ballad. You know.
Give me something that could make me cry, that will make me angry. Like Rage Against the
Machine. Give me some emotion. Yeah, make me feel something.
Speaking of emotion, the Ghost Inside you just mentioned before about listening to them at the tour van. I have to plead ignorance on this. I haven't really listened to this band, and I don't really know the story. Could you give for the listeners a bit of a summary on this band? And have you worked with them?
I've worked with them numerous times, yeah.
Okay.
A great bunch of guys. But backstory, the easiest way that I used to describe people would say, give me a band. You know, people ask you for a new band to listen. I say, I should have a listen to the Ghost Inside. And they go, what are they? And I used to go, like, they're LA's version of Parkway Drive. Okay. You know, that's how they're America's version of Parkway Drive. They're nice guys. They play great music, and it means something to them. You know. So that was my brief sort of description of them. You know, and then they were in a bus accident on their tour bus, and they had. I don't know the details, and I don't like to speak out of turn, but you know, both drivers died in the accident, and the drummer of the Ghost Inside lost part of his leg, got amputated, and everyone else had injuries, and for a while they didn't know whether they were going to play music again, and they came back and they played a show at the Shrine. A couple of Parkway's crew guys did their crewing and stuff, and you know, I watched through social media and stuff like that. I would have loved to have been there. I think that was June or July last year.
Yeah, it was in LA, wasn't it?
Yeah, Caitlin, who works with me with Roadsick, she was there. Steve was doing lights. Fishy was production manager and stuff like that. And I had friends from LA that were there, and it just seemed so amazing just to see them get back to the stage. You know, and that you're talking like 4 years later. You're not talking 6 months. There's a long road to getting there.
Yeah.
And then they came out for Unified in January, and I worked with them there with the Parkway crew, and it was just sensational, you know, and such an inspirational story. And they've released 2 songs since then. And people should just check them out. Just check them out just for the music, regardless of the story. The music stands for itself, you know. You don't need to know. You don't need to feel sorry for them. You don't need to anything like that. It's just good fucking music. But if you do, like anything, you should do a bit of research into what you're listening to, so you're not, you know, just so you know backstory of where the person's come from, and then not like a load of shit or anything, you know. But and that's basically it. They're top guys. They deserve everything that comes
for them. That's awesome. I'm going to check them out. I'm going to check them out for sure. You said that you listen to a lot of podcasts. Is there a couple of podcast recommendations you can give me?
There is. What a lot of people, like, no one knows who the fuck I am anyway, but like a lot of my friends will know this, that I'm a mad, like, fanatical American football fan.
Oh, okay. Gridiron? That's what we're talking about?
Yeah. So, so my favourite podcast is an American Gridiron American football podcast. So I'm not going to talk about that one. But my other one is How I Built This.
What's that?
It's an entrepreneurial podcast, and it just it'll talk this guy talks to like a business person, about a specific business. Specific. I can't say that. I get
specific.
So they'll talk to people like Cliff Bar, or they'll talk to about In-N-Out Burger or something.
So it's American. It's an American one.
Yeah, it's American. They go worldwide, but it's about an hour once a week, and it's people just talking about how they started their business and how they got it to where they want.
Yeah,
got it like that. Another great one that was only like 6 episodes or something like that was The Lighthouse, which was about the Belgian backpacker that went missing in Byron.
I listened to this one. That was really good.
Yeah.
So weird.
That was great. A friend of mine has one called My Age Podcast, which is a podcast where he just interviews Australian musicians, more the punk scene. So that's My Age Podcast. Then
My Age. I'll link them all in the show notes for the listeners.
Yeah. And then what got me into podcasts is I use the term lightly because a lot of people say they do this. I researched the West Memphis
Googled?
3. Yeah.
West Memphis 3. I've heard of this one, but I haven't. What's it about?
So I read as much information and watched as many documentaries as I could on the West Memphis 3. It was about 3 young teenagers that got accused of murder in West Memphis, and they didn't do it. Okay. And they got, it's just insane. But there was a podcast. There's a podcast called The Last Podcast on the Left, which is a comical podcast that address true crime stories.
Oh, I love true crime, so I'd probably be into this. Yeah.
And it's these guys, these 3 guys, they just feed off each other, and they're hilarious.
Yeah.
But they did 3-part series on the West Memphis 3.
Okay.
And then when I was doing my research, it led me to this podcast, and that's how I got into podcasts. I didn't know what podcasts were or anything.
Yeah.
And I started listening to this, and these guys were hilarious, but like they were legit, like know what they're talking about, you know. And I was just in, like, it was so sad. I was like nearly in tears, and then I was in hysterical laughter, you know, just because of the way the guys present these podcasts. So that's a good one. The Last Podcast on the Left.
I'm going to check this out. This sounds like something I'd be into. I listen to a shitload of true crime. So, I can get away with murder. All right. We're actually coming up to the last question, but I feel like we're going to keep talking a little bit longer after that. In this current COVID climate, I mean, WA is doing pretty well and sort of flattening the curve, but something that I've thought a lot about is the mental health aspect of it. The whole reason I started this podcast is because you and I both, or you're directly affected. A lot of our friends are out of work. Their schedule for the whole year has been obliterated. They have no work on the horizon. Well, maybe not. Maybe they're starting to now, but it's really scary that, you know, they're in this situation. And I've donated to Support Act, and I want the listeners to donate to Support Act to help, you know, the mental health of and the well-being of roadies. So can you sort of share your thoughts on what's happening at the moment and the effect that it's having on the road crew?
Yeah, like you said, I think a lot of road crew live week to week, you know, month to month if you're lucky, you know, if you've got enough money like that saved. For example, just like what I can know about firsthand is I was about to start working. The first weekend of April, I was about to start with Dope Lemon, and we were about to go on a 10-week Australian and European tour.
Yeah.
So that's 10 weeks straight work for me. That doesn't come around that often. Normally, if I'm doing a show on a Friday and Saturday night, I fly out Friday morning. I get paid for Friday. I get paid for Saturday show. I get paid a travel day to come home Sunday. So I'm like 2.5 days work a week. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why people maybe don't have savings and that sort of stuff. You got rent, you got food, you got families, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a 10-week tour, you go, as soon as you get booked for a 10-week tour, which you're probably getting booked for a 10-week tour like 6 months to 9 months in advance, you put that in the diary and that money's locked away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, shit, yeah, that's 10-week tour. That to me that's 6 months taken care of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Money wise for my year, if it had to be, you know,
like you could make it work.
I could make it work. So what a lot of people have seen is just all of a sudden their money is gone. There's no savings in the bank, and then the government is telling you, you're not going. We're doing job seeker. We're doing job keeper. You're going to be back paid at the start of May, but they're telling you that in March. You've got all of a sudden you're getting all this anxiety because you've got 6 weeks to wait before you may be getting some money from the government. You may be not getting some money from the government. I don't know, like, how much money a normal person spends. I don't have kids. I have a dog, and I have a partner, and we're terrible with money. But I know my limits and stuff like that, and I've been fortunate enough because I don't drink that much. I don't go out. I don't party. I don't pata. I don't do things that we do when we're young. I'm not young. I'm 44.
Looking pretty good though, Yogs.
So I I've saved. I'm up to date with my tax.
Yeah.
So I'm in a better situation than probably a few other people. And what was really sort of at the start when it all went down is we just bought a house on the 17th of February.
Shit.
And we moved in. Like, it was a really quick turnaround. We moved in.
Yeah.
And then I think 10 days later, I lost 9 months worth of work.
Fuck.
And it was like, fuck, what are we going to do? And then we're lucky we didn't use all our money for the house. We saved 6 months worth of mortgage repayments. But
thank fuck.
The bank turned around and offered us a freeze on our mortgage for 6 months. So we took it. So in actual fact, we're not paying rent. We're not paying a mortgage.
Yeah.
So life is actually cheaper than it normally is, which it should be because of the situation.
Yeah.
And we're not going out. We're not doing anything. So we're getting by. But like I said, I'm in a lucky situation. There's a lot of people out there that are not in the fortunate situation. I have a partner. She works for Queensland Health. Her job's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So
she was
lucky in that regard.
She worked firsthand on the data entry for COVID for Queensland and stuff like that. So we know there's only one person in our area with it. You know what I mean, and stuff like that. So there's just I feel like I've tried to do things through Roadsick and stuff. I know it's not much, but we offered free T-shirts to the roadies that I like in our sort of community. That's what Roadsick was started for, is to sort of start a family and a community, just so everyone, we're all in it together. And so I got like, whether people wanted to ask for them or not, like we gave 20 something free T-shirts out just because I was like, you may as well wear a new T-shirt while you're on your next Zoom call or you're FaceTiming with your mum, you know what I mean? And then we did a T-shirt to raise money for Support Acts with another organisation called Let's Have the Chat through a merch company called Imprint, and we sold I think it was 104 T-shirts, and we raised $1,400 for Support Act.
Awesome.
Through that. Yeah. And Support Act do an amazing thing. Like they're paying bills for the older generation of roadies and people who need the help and stuff like that. And prior to the podcast I was mentioning, I did a webinar for Music SA, for South Australia on Wednesday night,
Yeah.
which was about mental health.
Yeah.
And there was some great speakers on that, and it was like really sort of reassuring to know that, like, you get a bit disheartened if you follow the news every day, and you get a bit disheartened if you just get caught up in the whole thing and you're just listening to the government, because, like, I'm not, I think the government's doing a good job. Fuck knows. Sometimes I can't get 10 people to meet at a bus on time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a hard situation. It's an unprecedented situation. But if you're just listening to the government and you're just listening to news, you're going to get down. So it was great to see that there's some people in South Australia that know what they're talking about and know how to help people and stuff like that,
Yeah, that's good. Can you tell us a little bit about Roadsick, your clothing label? How did that get started, and what's going on with that at the moment?
So it started in 2014 when I got sick.
Mm-hmm.
I was in hospital. I was told that I'd maybe never be able to fly again.
Holy shit.
And I got sad. I got all sorts of emotions, whatever. But I was the opposite of homesick. I was roadsick. I was never going to be able to tour again. Stuff like that.
I love it.
And
so that's how it came up. Wow.
And I was like, I want to do a bunch of T-shirts for all the Angus and Julia crew.
Mm-hmm.
That just said Roadsick 2014, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got out of hospital. I had money saved because we'd been on a 4-month tour or whatever.
Yeah.
And when you're on tour, you hardly spend any money, you know, because you got catering, you've got all, whatever. Yeah. So I made T-shirts as a Christmas present for the Christmas 2014 for all the Angus and Julia crew and all the guys that I'd worked with all my other bands, Cog, Butterfly, all those sort of guys. And I gave everyone a T-shirt for Christmas, and it was a little bit different logo, but it said Roadsick, and I sort of explained it to everyone, and everyone loved it. And then people started asking, how can I get a T-shirt? How can I do this? How can I do that? And I was like, by this time, mind you, I was allowed to go back out on tour because I made the recovery and my operation was a success and stuff like that.
Good.
And then I thought, you know what? Normally you go on tour and then you're home for a month, you're home for 2 weeks. We spend a lot of time at home even though we spend a lot of time away, And I was like, I'm going to have I want to start a side hustle that's not necessarily to make money, but it's just to bring everyone together. And it was more like the thought of me missing everybody, missing the experiences, missing the adventures. So I wanted to start a community like that, and basically printed the T-shirt that you have on there. I printed that one, made a website.
Yeah,
they sold well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we made new designs and stuff like that, and they went well. And to this day, it doesn't really, like any money it makes, I put into it.
Yeah, reinvest it back in.
Design. Like it's never given me a cent, but it's given me a hobby. It's given a bit of a community. There's, it's a good vibe. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. I was actually in Northbridge in Perth once when you first launched, and I had this on. It was the first time I ever wore it. I was walking down James Street, and this guy walked past me. He goes, "Roadsick, where'd you get your shirt from?" And I sort of looked at the guy, and I'm like, I feel like I know this guy, but I don't know where from. I said, I got it from Yogi. And he's like, oh, I know Yogi. It was Ben Newby.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of how we became friends, actually. We had mutual friends, but that was the first time we actually met. Like, literally just walked past each other. He was like, "Where'd you get the shirt?" I was like, So yeah, that's so cool. I need to buy the Support Act shirt that you've got, the special. Sorry, let's have the chat. I need to buy that one.
It's it's a good vibe. I get stoked. Like it's rare that you can go to a gig and not see one shirt. You know what I mean? So I get stoked if I go to a gig and I see someone who's got one that I don't know. Yeah. Because that means I haven't given them one for free.
You had a sale the other day, so you've got to find us a lot more.
The sale went really well. It was cost price sale, but what the sale enabled me to do was put all that money that was generated into new designs.
Mm-hmm. And you're working with Kate Pepper?
Yeah, Kate Pepper does all our artwork, and it's normally Roadsick part of the crew, and we're about to jump into our first thing that's like Roadsick Art of the Crew.
Art of the Crew, awesome.
Yeah, and it's we're partnering up with Dynamic Tattoo in Melbourne.
Yeah.
For a couple of different type of things that people don't normally associate with us.
Okay, cool.
And then the second Art of the Crew is Caitlin's got some drawings.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third Art of the Crew series is Dynamic Tattoo with a second design. So.
Awesome. Is that going to be coming out in the next, month? Or what's the
it's
timeline?
a month to 6 weeks. It's all staggered. We're going to try this staggered thing for the next 3 months. So just so because I'm going to be home, so I've got something to do. Yeah. Stagger it rather than drop. I'll drop it all at once. I'm going to have nothing to do.
You can only go to the post office so many times.
There's only so many shifts at Coles they'll give me.
All right, well, I'm just going to link back to, we're talking about mental health just there. So my last question is, I asked you to pick a song that helped you find your voice in a dark moment, or a strength anthem that really pumped you up. What did you choose for this one?
So this is like most of my long-winded bloody answers.
I love it.
It's a sort of two-part. So when I just take you back. It's January 1993. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting on the floor of my mate's Buddy's house eating Wheat Bix. Video hits. We just got out of the surf. Yeah. Video is on the TV, and then this song just comes on, and it was Rage Against the Machine, Killing in the Name. I was 17, and it was 1993. It was the first time I ever heard it. So it's on like video hits or top 40 or whatever that shit show is on. And it was probably the first time that, like, how can I relate? Like, I've lived a middle class life, white person's life. I've had no fucking trouble with my life, but all of a sudden this music just hit me, and it was like it was talking to me. Yeah. Yeah. And I was just like, holy fuck. And I'm just screaming to Spuddy, come and listen to this, mate. Come and listen to this. Yeah. And I was just like, holy fuck, this is insane, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I was 17 when that one got me, and then probably the next one that got me was back in 2014 when I was sick. Mm. So Rage Against the Machine, the all-time favourite band. Yeah.
I agree, hands down.
Yeah, and my second favourite band beside Lacero, and then in my top bands would be a band called Cancer Bats from Canada. Yeah. They sing a song. They've got an album called Dead Set on Living, and there's a song called Dead Set on Living. Yeah. And it's one of those songs that you'll need to read the lyrics to follow. To follow what he's saying, but. Yeah. That song spoke to me, and I was just like, there's a chef, Matty Madison from Canada as well, who's friends of the band, and they're singing a song about him. He had heart troubles. I had heart troubles. Yeah. His name's Matt. My name's Matt. There was all these things, and I was just like, it's like they wrote that song for me. Oh wow! You know what I mean? Yeah. And I was just like, dang, and I have a tattoo of that song, and I listen to that song like a lot. Mm. I listen to that band a lot, but I listen to that song a lot. Yeah. Just if I need a pick me up, or I need, if I think, if I'm at the beach and I put my headphones on, I think I'm Mick Fanning, I listen to that song. Go out there and be a kook.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to check that one out for sure.
But yeah, they're probably the two songs that have really sort of
got you
spoken to me. Yeah.
Good choices. Now, you also sent through a large list of songs that you noted as being your warm, fuzzy comfort blanket playlist, which I love. And I'm not going to go through the whole list, but I will put it in the show notes and on the playlist. But I'm just going to pick...
and I left 7 songs off that.
Maybe we could add to them. I'm just going to pick out a couple of these just to ask you about. And maybe you can relay a story of why it made the list. The first one, which I think people will be surprised to know that you're into, is 50 Cent Into Club.
Oh, what's not to love?
It's an absolute banger, I agree.
Oh, yeah. If you don't like that song, you're a fucking moron.
You heard it here first.
Mate, it'd even be... Yeah, that's just a fucking good song.
Yeah, it's a fucking banger, I agree.
Yeah,
all right, so no story. You didn't work with 50 Cent. I thought you were going to say you'd met 50
Nah,
Cent.
I don't have a six-pack like that. I can't hang upside down like that. But who doesn't love? I used to love going to the club.
You know what I saw yesterday? A meme, and it was a dude playing Gent with 50 Cent's head, and it was 50 Gent. It's fucking funny. All right, another song I'm going to pick off your list here is Deftones, My Own Summer, because they're my favourite band in the whole world as well. Yeah. Have you ever worked with them?
No.
Not yet?
No. I've seen them a lot.
Yeah.
I was outside on the footpath when they played They played 2 nights at a place called the Iron Duke in Sydney, and we finished band rehearsal with the band that I was playing in at the time.
Yeah.
I think this would have been like 95, 96 or something.
Yeah, the adrenaline era.
Yeah, and they played 2 nights at a little pub called the Iron Duke in Sydney on Botany Road, and I didn't have a ticket. My guitarist had a ticket, so we finished rehearsal and he went in.
Yeah.
And we just stood outside and listened. And at one stage, there must have been so many people packed in there, the fire escape doors opened up onto the street, and the band kept playing. It was awesome.
He's like, "Fuck yeah!"
A
couple of other ones here. Drake, One Dance, great song.
Yeah. You know, like it's good. You can't be angry all the time.
Nah, I fucking love that. I love Drake like a lot. Yeah. I listen to his
There's actually a lot of Drake songs. It's funny, like I got into Drake in Toronto when I was on tour.
That's where he's from, right?
He's from Toronto, and I thought I'll have a listen to this guy just because he's from Toronto. You know, thinking that I was all cultured and shit.
You hadn't even learned French yet.
I was in Toronto with Angus and Julia, and I just spent the day listening to Drake, and I was just like, this is sick.
It's so good.
I'm a big fan of rap and hip hop and stuff. Like, there used to be a guy at school. This is going to be funny. Ryan Maxwell had an older brother when we were in high school, and I used to ask his brother to give me mixtapes.
Yeah, sick.
And he used to get mixtapes off his brother for me, and it used to have like Eric B and Rakim and LL Cool J. And
this is legit. This is legit fucking hip hop.
Back in the day, so I've always liked hip hop and rap.
Yeah.
I haven't worked. I worked with Insane Clown Posse, but I don't know what you call that.
Can't say I know any of their music. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I like that. Good music's good music.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I'll just pull one more off this. Beastie Boys is hip hop. Sunk Lodo. Now, this is a band that I loved back in the day.
Yeah.
Did you ever work with them?
I think I'm just about to lose my headphones.
Do you want to go plug them in?
No, they're still there. No, they're still there.
Okay.
I didn't work for them, but I'm friends with them.
Yeah.
I went to every show in Sydney that they did pretty much from when we were, over 18.
Yeah.
I'm a lot older than them.
Yeah.
But Jace, singer from Sunk Lodo, is one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
And it's just, they're amazing.
Yeah, they were huge back then. I loved them.
Yeah, I remember where I was when I heard Between Birth and Death for the first time. I was in a car in Maryborough with the Butterfly Effect.
Yeah.
We were on tour, I think it was 2004, 2005, whenever that came out.
Yeah.
I was just like, holy shit. But funny backstory of Sunk Lodo for me is Luke Gower, the bass player in Cog, used to play in a band called Tax.
Yeah.
Tax were playing on the local stage at the Sydney Warp Tour back in back in 90 something, because Cog wasn't a thing yet. And Sunk Loto were playing before Tax, and they were called Messiah.
Yeah.
And they were 14.
Oh my gosh! So
and they had just been sponsored by Ibanez and just given them all new guitars, and they were showing us all their new guitars and stuff.
Sick.
And they killed it. And that day was when Unwritten Law started a mud fight on stage and got kicked off the Warp Tour. And Deftones turned around and told the Warp spot.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm going to have to...
Got a bit of a dropout here. Are you just swapping to wireless headphones?
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah. It's a different, slightly different...
Yeah, I don't have other ones of these. These were Stasis, and I thought I charged them fully.
That's okay. Let's... have you got ones you can plug in or not? Or you are on them now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on.
That's cool. It can still hear you, so it should be good to go. I'll get... we may or may not edit this out. That's cool. These things happen. We're just rolling with the punches here. We've got a tour manager. It's all okay. We've got a backup plan.
Just send the runner out to get a new pair of AirPods.
Exactly. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. I've just got some quick fire little questions. So I'm basically going to say 2 band names, and you just got to pick one over the other. And you can elaborate on why, if you want to, or not. Okay, the first one is Oasis or Blur?
Oasis.
Metallica or Pantera?
Pantera have some great songs, but I'm not a redneck, so Metallica.
Kendrick or Kanye?
Kendrick.
Biggie or Tupac?
I'd say Biggie, but California is a fucking motherfucker of a song.
Yeah, it's a banger. Katy Perry or Taylor Swift?
I don't care.
I think Katy said the same thing.
I think Taylor Swift has that one song, though, but Katy Perry was on MasterChef. I watched MasterChef. Katy Perry.
Okay. AC/DC or Cold Chisel?
AC/DC.
Crowded House or Split Ends? This is the last one.
Crowded House.
Yeah. Do you have a favourite Crowded House banger?
No, I honestly only know the big ones.
You only know the big... Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's all our rapid-fire questions. Is there anything you wanted to plug while you're here? We've mentioned Roadsick. I will put the links up.
I just... If anyone's still listening after all this time, I just say as soon as you can, just go and see a band. A local band. Yeah,
I totally agree. Have you got anything penciled in for later in the year yet or not? Nothing.
Not one thing.
Fucking hell, that's scary.
Cog have a show in November. So I'm lying there, but I got told on Friday that it's likely to be cancelled. So,
shit.
At the moment. Oh, and Julia's meant to be supporting Alanis Morissette, but there's going to be no international.
Oh yeah, of course. Was that meant to be July or something?
It was already meant to be finished by now.
Oh, okay.
Last month, and then it got removed. It got moved to November early on.
Okay,
but it's not going to happen.
It's not looking like it is. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But as soon as 200 people can go to a show, 300 people can go to a pub.
Yeah.
I'll be back out there one way or another. I'm toying with the idea of grabbing a bunch of young bands and putting a Roadsick tour on the road.
That would be amazing.
And just play bring my crew guys out, so some young bands get some the top of the notch crew, and just take some young bands to some regional towns.
That'd be amazing.
So see if that works, because in a weird way, this could be really good for the Australian music industry.
Yeah. In what way? What are you thinking behind that?
There's a lot of young bands that don't tour regional areas. And you know, like if there's going to be no big gatherings, no massive sporting gatherings and stuff like that, some of the regional places, they'll go to the pub to get their entertainment fix, you know. So there might be an opportunity there for smaller bands to tour Coffs Harbour, Central Coast, you know, like Geraldton and, you know, your places, Dunsboroughs and all that stuff, you know.
But
there might be just, you know, back in the day there was a circuit, you know. Used to do an album tour, used to go on tour in Australia for six weeks, 4 nights a week or something.
Yeah.
Bands go on tour now and their tour's over in 2 weekends.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
So yeah, if they let us out, I'll get out there.
Yeah, a Roadsick tour would be amazing. Are there any young bands or just, you know, what are you listening to lately? Is there something like a band that you've kind of just discovered by accident and just gone, wow?
I dig Ocean Grove.
Oh, can we talk about Flip Phone Fantasy just for a second? Because I absolutely love it.
I like Ocean Grove. I like Red Hook. Like, you know, like Polaris and that obviously speak for themselves. So they, you know,
they're amazing.
You know, North Lane don't need me to talk them up. You know,
love them. Yeah.
So it's just there's a million bands out there. I just hope. You know, I think people will be stinging to do something. So hopefully people go out and see a band, you know, like Jace from Sunklato's got a solo debut EP that we just released. So Jace will be doing some shows. So
awesome. All right, Yokes. I'm going to stop the recording,
cool.
But for the listeners. So thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Subscribe, like, review, all that good stuff. I'll leave all the links in the show notes. And, Yogi, thank you so much. Your stories today have been absolutely incredible, and I've loved every minute, and I learned so much. So thank you very, very much. All right. See you, everyone, next week.